Police investigate a tragic mass shooting. The victims' families recall that tragic day and another traffic fatality on the island of Abaco. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Friday, April 16th. 6 families are left to put together the pieces following that brazen late afternoon mass shooting in the Kemp Road area, while a teen mother and young daughter are still in hospital fighting for their life. Here's our Laurencia Smith with that story.
A shooting massacre, one of the deadliest shootings in recent history in the country, rocked the community of Kemp Road. 6 men killed only moments after being released from police custody Thursday afternoon, following questioning in connection with an unlicensed firearm. Police says it was shortly after 5 p.m. when officers were called to the scene of the country's latest homicide, a shooting of 8 people, 2 of them a mother and her 2-year-old daughter, who are fighting for their lives in hospital. Here's Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for crime management and criminal investigation, Solomon Cash, briefing the press at police headquarters on Thursday night about the shooting at the intersection of Jerome Avenue and Chesapeake Road.
A Honda Inspire pulled up at that junction, followed by what was described as a white Kia Jeep. 4 persons, all wearing black clothing, emerged from that vehicle. 2 we suspect was armed with high-powered weapons, and the other 2 was armed with what appeared to be handguns. These persons opened fire on that Honda Inspire, causing a high amount of damage to that vehicle. The vehicle then ran off the road into bushes as those suspects continued firing their weapons on the inside of that vehicle.
ACP Cass says police met the 2 men on the outside of that vehicle, the other 4 inside the Honda Aspire, all with multiple gunshot wounds. The 2 other victims, the 19-year-old mother and her daughter, shot in the crossfire, were in a separate vehicle behind the Honda Aspire. They were both transported to hospital, and the latest update by ACP Cash listed the teen as critical but stable, and the child as stable. The Assistant Commissioner noting that the woman and the 2-year-old is believed to be related to one of the victims. ACP Cash further revealed that the Jeep used in the incident was recovered nearby on Edwards Avenue. Evidence suggests that the incident is gang-related. Commissioner of Police Paul Roll sharing his thoughts on the toddler caught in the crossfire, as almost a month to the date, 10-year-old Kieron Dean was killed in a crossfire in the Bain and Grantstown community.
Even in the criminal world, persons not abiding by their own code. And one of those codes is where you have females and children. The rival individuals typically do not engage. But in recent times, we have noticed that it is becoming more and more despicable, the behavior of these individuals, and it shows you the level of disrespect that they have, even among themselves, that they can just open fire and callously shoot. They didn't care who in that, all in that vehicle, they just shoot. And this is what we've seen, and I think that people need to speak out more about that and that type of behavior.
The commissioner also vowing that officers will put their boots on the ground following the killing of those 6 men. Commissioner Roll, who has spent more than 20 years in uniform, says that this was the worst he has seen. However, he says that police are looking into some leads.
We do appeal to persons who have information to come forward. We're looking at the acquiring all of the CCTV footages in those areas, and that is helping us. So we are following some lead with that. And we'll continue with our investigative abilities until we're able to find these individuals.
The police is seeking the public's assistance with any information as it relates to this deadly shooting. They have established an incident room to facilitate with investigation and asking anyone with information to call any of the following numbers: 502-9991, 502-9946, or 503-9952. I'm Laurencia Smith for Jcn News.
A somber morning for families left behind to mourn the death of their loved ones following yesterday's mass shooting. With the story, we go to our Tyler Simonet.
Families are now left to cope with the senseless killing of 6 of their loved ones after yesterday's brazen broad daylight shooting. Laverne Cartwright's no stranger to tragedy. This mother of 3 lost 2 of her sons in 1 week, the first dying of natural causes this past Wednesday. And 1 day later, she was met with more crushing news with the murder of her youngest son, Travis Cooper. Struggling to keep her composure, Mrs. Cartwright says this.
I don't know how any mother could go through something like this.
That's the truth.
I don't know how they live to see another day, but they were my children.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to pray this on any other mother.
No.
My son Travis was kind and loving, and everyone loved him. And he tried his best. And I know he loved me, and I loved him. And he will be greatly missed. And I just want to say to all the mothers out there with children, please pray for over your children. Keep them close and cover them in the blood.
Amen.
Because things is happening too fast around this place. I don't know what is happening.
Ms. Cartwright tells reporters that she was in her yard in the Kemp Road area when she heard the gunshots. She immediately made her way to the scene of the crime, where she was met with the horrifying image of her son's dead body.
I saw him. I know that was my child. I just lose it.
Kendall Lord Sr., father of 31-year-old Kendall Lord, who was identified by police as a victim this afternoon, describes his son as an outgoing man. Lord leaves behind 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. His father tells reporters how he will cope following such a tragic event.
Once he's dead, to me, that's closure. Ain't no use fretting or worrying or hurting your own, bringing pressure on yourself. That's closure. It's over. Finish.
Alfred Bastian, father of 30-year-old Renardo Bastian, also known as Crack Teeth, after hearing the news, Mr. Bastian said he made his way to the scene and met his son still alive in the car, with a few members of the community attempting to remove him from the vehicle.
Some guys try to take my son out of the car. The police them run them. And you know the police holler? Let him dead. So let him dead.
This is the 3rd son he's lost to gun violence. Asked how he's coping in the light of that, he says this.
It hurt, but that's just me. I can't really carry on like in such a way. Like I always show my son, don't do it. It is what it is. And it could be what it could be. You don't know the streets, you know the streets run.
Police this afternoon also identified 34-year-old Delando Smith of Browns Alley Kemp Road as one of the victims of the mass shooting. 2 surviving victims are said to be in critical but stable condition. Police are appealing to you, the general public, who may have any information that can assist with this investigation, to call the Criminal Investigations Department at 502-9991 or 2, or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. For Jcn News, I'm Tyler Simonand.
National Security Minister Marvin Dames and Member of Parliament for Freetown, Dionisio de Aguilar, expressing concerns over the deadly shooting. It's an unprecedented tragedy in the country, according to the National Security Minister, who says that the Prime Minister and the government are gravely concerned about this incident.
To certainly speak to this incident and how concerned we are, and the fact that, this tragic incident certainly unprecedented, but it speaks to the fact that you had this one incident, but you had multiple lives lost. And oftentimes we speak about the effects of assault rifles and the presence and the prevalence of firearms, but more particularly assault rifles in our nation, and the fact that when they end up in the hands of untrained and ruthless individuals, something like this can happen.
While the minister encourages persons to come forth with information that may help the police with their investigation, he says that oftentimes parents are aware of the activities their children are involved in. He even went as far to say that sometimes children conceal their weapons within their parents' home.
When you put a weapon, an assault rifle at that, in the hands of an inexperienced child, this is often the end result of that. This is often the end result. And this is the world that we're living in today. We're no longer living in a world of bottles and rocks. People are retaliating now with assault rifles. Okay? We have to now stand up and expose these individuals who they are, children.
Just last Friday, another homicide occurred in the Kemp Road community. The MP for that area, Minister D'Aguilar, says the community is devastated by this incident, adding that it is incredibly unfortunate that the greatest death total in one incident in the area.
Think about all the children that don't have fathers, the brothers that don't have brothers, the mothers that don't have sons. It's just devastating. I just don't understand the senselessness of it all. And hopefully this will be the incident that shocks everybody into thinking enough is enough. And I've said this in Parliament, talk it out, speak it out, vent it out. But in the name of the great Lord above, don't go kill each other.
Both ministers expressing their heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims while praying for the recovery of the mother and daughter. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.